What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's get started with Alex Pereira didn't take the first fight with Magomed seriously? When Alex Pereira and Magomed Ankalaev shared the octagon last year, Pereira seemed unable to get going, with Ankalaev appearing a step ahead. And before we continue, make sure to leave a like on the video to help support the channel. The way Nurmagomedov's coach John Wood sees things, Pereira didn't take the fight as seriously as he should have. During an interview with Hoya Fight this week, Wood revealed that leading up to the UFC 313 card, he saw Pereira attending UFC events all around the world. I'm at almost every event all over the world, not just UFC, but small shows, big shows, little shows, you know, everything. And I swear to you, when he was in that camp, I saw that dude at every one of those shows. He was at Karate Combat, he's in Australia, he's here, he's there, he's that. And so for me, I was just like, man, how are you preparing for a fight of that magnitude while you're away for a week? I would see him training in the training rooms. I just don't know that you can put a proper camp in. I could be wrong, I don't know. Maybe that's what works for him, and maybe that wasn't the case. Maybe I was only seeing him for a day or two, who knows? But it just seemed like he was everywhere during that camp. And I feel like maybe some T's and I's that weren't dotted and crossed, and I think that obviously he probably learned from that. With Pereira versus Ankalaev 2 rapidly approaching, it'll be interesting to see if Pereira can get the belt back. Oscar De La Hoya goes off on Dana White for boxing event. On the heels of Dana White's Zuffa boxing debut this past weekend, White's longtime nemesis Oscar De La Hoya decided to go off during the latest installment of his Thursday Clapback series.
I predicted the Canelo-Crawford fight like a goddamn fortune teller. Canelo's feet were cemented on the canvas as he was hitting air. What the was that? Props to Crawford.
Thank you.
He came up 3 weight classes and fought a beautiful fight. Great performance. Like taking candy from a baby. As far as the undercard, Jesus Christmas. I feel bad for Turkey. Wasting all that money. Now, speaking of poor promotion, Dana White didn't have his best week. His t-shirt shrank smaller every minute, especially when he was questioned about his attempt to amend the Muhammad Ali Act. So you're saying this report is an asshole because he's asking you a legitimate question? That's because the Muhammad Ali Act protects fighters, and TKO needs it to change so they can fighters over. Sorry, Uncle Fester. You can't muzzle the boxing media like you do in the UFC.
That's alright.
And after this debacle, he decided to skip the undercard and shows up in the beginning of the main event where he's just watching the UFC on his phone the entire time. I wonder if he regrets abandoning the UFC for a sport that doesn't want him.
Considering De La Hoya was dismissive of Crawford's chances heading into this fight, the former champion's latest comments have landed him plenty of criticism from the combat sports community.
Now, what the media is reporting, and it's circulating, is that Canelo Crawford is the biggest fight of the decade. I mean, to a purist and a fighter, it's laughable. Because you have Crawford jumping up 2 weight classes to fight Canelo, who's a natural light heavyweight. Crawford, who couldn't push back Madrimov. Life and death with Madrimov. What do you think Canelo's going to do to him? Run him out of the ring.
In the wake of the fight, Crawford and Ilia Topuria have continued to take verbal jabs at one another. The way Michael Bisping sees things, considering Dana White just did a deal with Crawford, a boxing match between the two isn't out of the question. During a video for his YouTube channel this week, he weighed in. You never know, maybe it does happen, but let's be honest, if it were to happen, it would make a lot of money. You know why? Because there will be 2 fan bases tuning in, and that's what happened with Mayweather versus McGregor. You've got all the boxing fans, and then you've got all the MMA fans, and of course, you've got Dana White in the middle. Dana just did business with Terence Crawford. Ilia Topuria is under contract with the UFC, so it's not unbelievable to think of a world where this might happen. It's just, would Crawford lower himself? Would he want to step in the ring with somebody like that? You never know, because what else is there out there for him? As Dana said before the Crawford-Canelo fight, however, don't expect to see UFC fighters cross over to boxing. UFC updates. Ahead of next weekend's card in Perth, let's take a look at today's UFC updates, starting with an update to the UFC Rio card in October. According to MMA Twitter user Kevin, Randy Brown is out of his upcoming fight with Gabriel Bonfim, and Jack Hermanson is stepping in on short notice. So far, however, the UFC has not confirmed the change, and the report has not been corroborated by Marcel Dorff, who coincidentally broke news about a new addition to the UFC Vegas 112 card in December, with Cesar Almeida set to fight Cezary Oleksiejczuk. Almeida is in the midst of a 2-fight win streak, while on the flip side, Oleksiejczuk will look to pick up a win in his UFC debut after a first-round Contender Series victory earlier this month. We also got some Noche UFC medical suspensions courtesy of MMA Junkie. Aside from the mandatory medical suspensions, Jared Gordon and Jose Medina were notably hit with 45-day medical suspensions. Additionally, Dustin Stoltzfus and Diego Ferreira have been hit with 60-day suspensions, while Duško Todorovic and Cedric Dumas have been suspended indefinitely. We also got an update on UFC vet Maurice Green, who told MMA Fighting this week that after finding his passion for acting and landing in a Jordan Peele film, he's done fighting. "I'm done fighting. I'm done," Green said. "It's been a nice 15-year-long career. It's time to put that energy that I put into training for so many years into my kids and my family and acting. MMA was very good to me. I made it further than most. People talk, they can say what they want. He wasn't this, he wasn't that. I'm proud of my body of work." Speaking of UFC vets, Kevin Lee was recently hit with a $31,000 bill for a CT scan and Advil in Connecticut. However, he was charged just over $400 for the same services in Florida. He posted on social media about the situation.
Okay, maybe somebody on the internet can help me figure this out. After my last fight, which was on 6/20, right, in Kansas, I had to go to the hospital there in Kansas. They did a CT of my face, my head, and my brain, and they gave me some ibuprofen. Why are they trying to charge $31,000 for that? $22,000 just for the CT scans. Almost $9,000 for the emergency room visit, where I was there for an hour and I sat in the hallway. The next day, I go to Florida where I'm living, and they do the same CT scan, right? The exact same one. And they charge a more reasonable $420. They even did an x-ray of my shoulder too. But $420 versus $22,000. $31,000 overall. This hospital actually wired my jaw shut so that I wasn't continuing to damage it. This one, all they did was just give me ibuprofen and send me home. And they charging, I don't even know how much more that is. That's like, I don't even know how much more that is. It's like 400 times more. Somebody help me figure this out.
And last but not least, in the way of today's UFC updates, we got the official UFC Vancouver posters. What do you think of the posters? Drop your thoughts in the comments down below. There's a reason UFC fighters bring ice packs to game night, and it's not for the drinks. Just like there's a reason Morgan & Morgan is the largest injury law firm in America, with over 1,000 attorneys nationwide. They've recovered over $25 billion for more than 500,000 clients. Morgan & Morgan has been fighting for the people for over 35 years. When you hire them, it's like hiring a legal army that has your back. The results speak for themselves. In Florida, a client received $12 million after the insurance company offered just $350,000. In Pennsylvania, another client was awarded $26 million, 40 times the insurer's $650,000. If you're injured because of someone else's negligence, you deserve to be paid. Not all law firms are created equal. Hiring the wrong one can cost you. If you're ever injured, you can check out Morgan & Morgan and go to our link at forthepeople.com/MMA. Again, if you're injured, you can check out Morgan & Morgan and go to our link at forthepeople.com/MMA. Their fee is free unless they win. Mario Bautista wants title fight if he beats Umar Nurmagomedov at UFC 321. Mario Bautista has won 8 straight fights since his last loss in 2021, and after spoiling Patchy Mix's UFC debut earlier this year, Bautista is hopeful that with a win over Umar in October, it'll put him right next in line for a crack at the belt. During an interview with MMA Junkie this week, Bautista spoke about his place in the stacked bantamweight division. If you look at it, it's going to be 9 straight wins, getting this win. Then my last 3 performances would be Aldo, Patchy, Umar. 9-fight win streak. I don't know what else you could possibly do, and I think that's exactly what Merab had. I think Merab had a 9-fight win streak, and I think he really had to fight for that title shot. Hopefully, he sees that and gives me that same kind of grace, and we'll figure something out. Considering Merab said in a separate interview before Bautista's interview with MMA Junkie that he hopes Bautista gets the win against Nurmagomedov, if Bautista is able to get the win, Merab may call for him to get the next crack at the title. Bogdan Guskov shares shocking story with Jon Jones. Bogdan Guskov may be on a 4-fight win streak inside the octagon, but back in 2013, he was working as security at a club in Moscow when Jon Jones and Alexander Gustafsson came to town to promote their first fight. During a Russian-speaking interview with Usha Taika this week, Guskov dished on Jon Jones' partying habits. I saw Gustafsson leave around 10-11 p.m. to get some sleep. Meanwhile, Jon Jones stayed in the club until 5 a.m. He was drunk. At one point, I even saw him and Frank Mir wrestling on the floor, and none of us dared to break it up. Luckily, they were just playing. I was shocked that a fighter of this level could party like that. When the interviewer asked if he was drinking vodka, Guskov replied, he drank everything that was at the bar. Guskov, of course, isn't the first fighter to dish on Jones' partying habits. MMA community roasts Michael Chandler. With Conor McGregor back in the UFC's testing pool, Michael Chandler's once again optimistic that the two will finally get the chance to fight. During an interview with MMA Fighting this week, Chandler spoke about the potential bout, saying, I've always said if you're a betting man, don't put money on him necessarily coming back, but now this changes things a lot. In my heart of hearts, I think I'm fighting Conor McGregor at the White House, and that sure does make a ton of sense for a multitude of reasons. First and foremost, I want the White House. Ideally, if he becomes Conor, that would be awesome. We have some unfinished business. I've got respect for him, he's got respect for me, but we do have some unfinished business. He has expressed interest. When he put out that meme of me and him, I guess could call it a meme, it was AI. It was me and him. He's called me out on Twitter and said we have unfinished business, and we do. The MMA community was quick to react to these comments, with one sharing a meme along with a message for Chandler. I've never seen a fighter so obsessed with having one particular fight. No one besides him wants to see this happen. Another fan threw out a different suggestion. If this dork had an ounce of self-awareness, he'd go away. Feel care about that fight. Most want Conor Nate 3. Another fan agreed. Stop, let it go. Conor vs DS3 is the fight to make on the White House lawn. As one joked, he sandbagged his last couple fights to make sure he didn't look too much like a threat. One fan replied, I've gone from laughing at the patheticness of Chandler constantly groveling for the McGregor fight to now thinking the man seriously needs professional help. He's obsessed. Another fan feels like Chandler's lost his aura. Bro, you're not that guy anymore. Stop acting like that fight would benefit to the fans. The only one who have interest in that fight is you to take a huge paycheck. A few more years ago would have been a fun fight, but not anymore. Both guys are washed. Whether the fight actually happens, we'll just have to wait and see. Boss Rutten wants Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall as UFC White House main event. As we reported earlier in the week, Dana White is not too keen on having Jon Jones headline the upcoming card at the White House. The way Boss Rutten sees things, however, a fight between Jones and Tom Aspinall is the logical choice for the main event of next summer's card. During an interview with Bloody Elbow this week, he weighed in, saying that every champion should fight on that card. For me, it was Aspinall Jones. Listen, if Jon commits, he commits. That's the guy he is, and especially the White House. This is a one-time deal. Maybe it might never happen again. Hopefully we get another president later on who loves fighting as well and can do it again, but this is the very first time. You know, you make history. It's never been done at the White House, and the whole world will notice. Everybody's going to watch. So knowing Jon Jones, and I hope that he gets the money that he wants because Jon, in my eyes, he could be the best guy ever. Of course, part of the reason Dana is hesitant on having Jones headline is because the UFC did reportedly meet his financial demands for the Aspinall fight, and he balked anyway. Breaking: Raja Jackson gets arrested for Syko stew situation. Now we have some huge news. After a month since the Syko stew situation, it was revealed last night that Raja Jackson was arrested for the altercation. According to TMZ Sports, Raja was arrested Thursday morning around 9 a.m. and was booked on a felony charge. As TMZ made the news public around 10 hours after the arrest, Raja was still behind bars with a $50,000 bond. It's interesting considering Rampage Jackson was on the side of his son doing a little time in jail and some community service to learn his lesson. This was all said during an interview with Ariel earlier this month.
I think that he should do a little time, do a little community service, and go to anger management class, see some therapy.
So with this news now being public, it'd be interesting to see if Rampage Jackson pays the bail for Raja. As for the MMA community, they reacted to the situation by saying the following. The only question here is what on earth took them so long? Wasn't exactly something that required external witnesses or much evidence to be collated. I'm hoping Rampage doesn't immediately bail him out. He deserves at least a year or two before potential release, for nearly ending a man's life and no doubt immensely traumatizing the crowd. Dude really torpedoed his career and reputation, beating a wrestler into unconsciousness, all because his pride was bruised over a worked beer can spot. Video evidence and hundreds of witnesses, and it took a month to arrest him. Jailed by the LAPD at his apartment. They also provided an update that Raja posted bail at 8 a.m. today. So as of Friday morning, Raja is out on bail. It'll be interesting to see where things go from here. As for you guys, the viewers, what are your thoughts on everything? Let us know in the comments section below. We have a favor to ask. Help us reach 200,000 subscribers on MMA Zone by subscribing and turning on notifications for daily MMA content. Seriously, we rarely miss a day.